All right, guys, so today what we're going to do is we're going to have an introduction to geometry. So this is basically what you guys are going to be looking at possibly next year, okay? As long as you pass Algebra 1, you'll be going to geometry, and these are some things that you guys will be seeing, all right? So on the left, you got your vocab terms. On the right, you got the definitions. I want you to go ahead, pause the video, and match each vocab term with the definition. All right, so let's go ahead on down the line. Complementary angles are going to be C, two angles that add to the measure of 90 degrees. Number two, supplementary angles are going to be J, two angles that add to measure 180. Adjacent are going to be K. It's having a common vertex and a common side. In other words, next to. A right triangle is definition G, a triangle with one right angle. Pythagorean theorem is going to be I. A squared plus B squared equals C squared. The triangle thumb theorem is going to be F. That's where the sum of the angles of a triangle are 180 degrees. Acute angle is going to be E, an angle that is larger than 0 degrees but smaller than 90 degrees. Obtuse angle is going to be H, an angle that is larger than 90 degrees and smaller than 180. A straight angle is going to be A, an angle that measures to 180 degrees. Right angle is going to be B, an angle that measures to 90 degrees. And lastly, hypotenuse is going to be D, the longest side of a right triangle. Now, all of these definitions we are going to use to go ahead and work through some problems. A lot of geometry does have a little bit of algebra in it, specifically the solving piece. So let's start here on number one. Two angles are supplementary. Well, for that definition, that was 180 degrees. If one angle is 30 degrees, what is the other angle? Well, that means that the two angles should add up to 180. So the first angle that we don't know plus 33 degrees should equal 180. So we know we could subtract those two numbers and get the value of X, which ends up being 147 degrees. Number two, two angles are complementary. Well, that definition is 90 degrees. If one angle is 64 degrees, what's the measure of the other? That means two angles will add up to 90. So if I do 90 minus 64, that's going to give me my answer of 26 degrees. Number three, what is the value of X? So notice, guys, this is a straight angle. We said a straight angle combines to make 180 degrees. Well, if that's the case, we can add those two angles that we currently have and set them equal to 180. All right, so this is where the algebra piece comes into play, where you're doing your solving for X piece. So I got 6 plus 15X, which is 21X plus 75 equals 180. Subtract 75 from both sides. And I get 21X equals 180 minus 75, which is 105. Divide everything by 21, and X equals 5. And that's all they wanted to know was what the value of X was. Same idea on the next problem. It says solve for X. Now this time we're talking about a triangle. A triangle, we said all the angles add up to 180 degrees. So let's take all three angles and add them to equal 180. 2X plus 11 plus 3X minus 2 plus 50 equals 180. So I have 2X and I have 3X. Add those up and I get 5X. I now have 11 minus 2 plus 50. All right, let's combine all those, and that's going to give me 59 equals 180. Now let's subtract 59 from both sides. Now I get 5x equals 121. When I divide everything by 5, I get x equals 121 over 5, which is actually, sorry, 24.2 as a decimal. All right, number 5. Again, saying find the value of x. Same thing that we talked about on the last one. This one's 180 degrees. All right, so I take x and then I add 71. And this box right here means I have a 90-degree angle. So I can add 90 and set this equal to 180. So now I really have x plus 161 equals 180. When I subtract 161 from 180, I get x equals 19 degrees. Now, number 6, we're now going to side lengths, and this is a right triangle. Whenever you have a right triangle, the side lengths can be determined by doing a squared plus b squared equals c squared, where a and b are your legs, c is your hypotenuse. So we can take our a and square it, plus our b and square it, and set that equal to my c. Okay? So I now have 49 plus 24 squared, which is 576, equals x squared. Well, 49 plus 576 is 625, equals x squared. And then this last part, we are very familiar with this. Take the square root of both sides and do that in my calculator to get 25 equals x. And that is my last side. All right, you try the same thing on number 7. Now, when you get something number 7, you probably noticed that it was a little bit different. You had an A, but you did not have B, but you did have C. So this time it was 60 squared plus B squared equals 61 squared. So really I have 3,600 plus B squared equals 3,721. Now, when I subtract 3,600 from both sides, I get B squared equals 121. And then when I take the square root, I get B equals 11. And that is my answer. Now, number 8, it says draw and label a picture. Write the equation, solve, showing all steps. So a suitcase has a rectangular shape. So I got a rectangle right here. The side lengths measure 13 inches and 21 inches. Will her 27-inch umbrella fit in the suitcase? Okay, well, side lengths, it's a rectangle. Rectangles have right angles, so I can use Pythagorean theorem. 13 squared plus 21 squared. Will that equal 27 squared? Will 27 squared be able to fit in that? Let's find out. Well, 13 squared plus 21 squared, I get 610 equals c squared, and I get the value of c to be 24.6982. So this long diagonal, the longest piece in here, where the umbrella would go, whether it's that diagonal or this diagonal, is only 24.6982 inches, which is why the umbrella cannot fit. It's too big. All right, last one. All right. Go ahead and pause the video, and I want you to find the third side length of this triangle. Okay, I got A, I got B, I got C. I don't know my A, but 18 squared equals 40 squared. Okay? I get A squared plus 324 equals 1600. Subtract 324 from both sides. A squared equals 1276. Take the square root, and we get A equals 35.7211. All right. So there is that last side length. Now, when I'm coming up with the perimeter, perimeter is to add, as we know, all sides. So 35.7211 plus 18 plus 40 equals 93.7211. Now, the last part is if the bushes are planted 4 feet apart, how many bushes are needed? Well, let's divide our perimeter by 4 and find that out. So 93.7211 divided by 4 equals 23.4303. So we need about 23 bushes. All right, guys, there's your introduction to geometry.